What's up, my neutral lights? There's something that's been on my mind lately. I want to yap about it. So I've seen and even had this specific interaction a lot of times where someone will say that they're anti-AI, and then someone will bring up the counterpoint of like, oh, there's like the medical AI, there's ethical, there's good AI. And then their response will be, okay, well, I'm actually anti-generative AI. And that's good and dandy, sure, whatever. But the arguments that they're making aren't anti-generative AI. The things a lot of people are saying are things like, I'm against large data centers that are sucking perfectly good drinking water from communities that need it. I'm against training AI using slave labor. That's a thing that they've been doing recently. Using stolen images, artwork, photography, whatever, to train the AI without the original artist's or poster's consent. And those are all good things to be against, but it's not anti-generative AI. You could train a generative AI off of images that were all consensually, ethically sourced, without slave labor, without data centers. Carrie Huang himself was, back in 2017, creating generative AI models that would generate pictures of human faces, or of silhouettes dancing, or of classical music, or of rap lyrics. And, no, he technically didn't get permission to use these images or these lyrics or whatever, but he wasn't profiting off of the AI. He was just coding it for fun and then sharing it with YouTube. And obviously the quality is nothing like the generative AI that we have today, but it was generative AI. It took a training data set, and then it trained off of them, and it was able to generate its own product, its own stuff based on what was in that data set. You could gather a bunch of consenting artists or consenting photographers to put their images into this database, and you could let the AI, the little program, train off of that data set using only your computer. No data centers, no giant fucking water sucking whatever. Just your own personal computer. Is it gonna take multiple hours? Yes. Is it gonna be nearly as good as modern day generative AI? No. But it is possible. I would say that doing it in that way would be ethical. When you're condemning things like data centers and slave labor and stealing from artists, what you're condemning is not generative AI, it's capitalism. All of those things are a result of greed, of trying to get as much money as possible, cutting corners, making the lives of poor people worse to line the pockets of the rich. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to be anti-generative AI. Of course you can be anti-generative AI. It's just that a lot of the points that people claim are anti-generative AI are actually anti-capitalist. Being anti-generative AI would be like, I don't fucking know, not wanting the AI to take your job or replace human work. Thinking that AI-generated artwork is completely invalid and should not even be considered. Being anti-generative AI means being anti the generation and the AI itself, not the systems around it that have made it the absolute beast that it is today. Considering all of this, I don't think I'm necessarily anti-generative AI. I guess I wouldn't want AI replacing the jobs of humans, maybe, but I don't think that any ethically sourced AI would ever be able to become powerful enough to even do that. And that's something that I would be willing to argue with someone with. That's not something that I would be upset with someone for disagreeing with me on, right? If you think that generative AI is still inherently evil, then yeah, sure, fucking whatever. You just don't want the machine to try and replicate human creativity or human artwork. That's fine. That's a completely valid stance to have. But if you're more like me, and maybe you're more like, I don't know if that is a problem that I actually care about, then that's not being anti-generative AI. You are anti the companies that make generative AI. You are against the CEOs that are pushing generative AI. And I'd be willing to guess that you're probably against just the whole loop of it all. Right now it's generative AI, it used to be cryptocurrency, it used to be NFTs, these bubbles keep getting inflated and they keep on popping, and that's capitalism. It's always capitalism. If you hate ChatGPT because it exists, that's anti-generative AI. But if you are against it because of the systems that it supports and that it was built upon, that's something else. I think generative AI is not an inherent evil. You can code it ethically, and you can use it ethically. If done right, it can be a net positive to the world, I think. And if you disagree with me on those points, that's fine. You're allowed to think that. But if you don't, then I don't think you're anti-generative AI. Go watch some of the old neural network videos on the Carrie KH YouTube channel and report back to me and tell me if you're still anti-generative AI. Because I think if you're anti-generative AI, you should be against everything that's happening in those videos. Me personally, I don't think Carrie did anything wrong when he was training those neural networks.